320 BC, the successors of Alexander the Great. Not again! Hello, I'm Bruce. Welcome to the basement. Today's game is set during the wars of the Diadochi. Diadochi? Anyway, it's set during the wars between the successors of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great conquered a huge empire during his short life. When he died in 323 BC, he left no successor. His generals divided up his empire and fought each other for control. These men were known as the Diadochi? Anyway, it's all Greek to me, so we'll just call them the successors. The principal dynasties of the successors were the Antigonads, the Seleucids, and the Ptolemies. Today's battle will be between two of the lesser-known successors, the Markid dynasty and the Brusimaics. For rules, we are going to use Triumph. Since today's game will be in Perry's basement, I'll let him set the stage.
The scenario today was not historical, which is unusual for us. I decided that for a trial game, when people are not familiar with things, not to play a historical game with historical objectives or anything like that. So today it was just learn how to do things, get familiar with movement, get familiar with how the combat is fought, and keep it as simple as possible, because it's going to take a while for people to learn how exactly they can do things. Today we're playing Triumph, which is a set of rules for ancient and medieval warfare. I decided to pick two armies that I knew I had, which were Macedonian successor armies. They were basically the same composition, and that made it simple for people to pick up on the various troop types that were used in the game. The rules are played I go, you go, and the first thing you do is decide how far you can move. If you're far enough apart, you can make multiple moves, and it's dependent on how many pips you roll on your dice. Each general gets a die, and if he has 6, he can move a group of 6 different elements, or he can make a group move, which is any number of elements that are side by side. Once you get within tactical range of the enemy, you can only do single moves. You can't do multiple moves. But again, you can still move as many groups or individual stands as you want.
The opening map shows the starting positions of each army. The two forces are evenly matched, with similar troop types. Both sides have cavalry on the flanks, then light infantry, and then the phalanx of heavy infantry in the center, with elephants backing them up. The blue army is the Brusimaic dynasty, commanded by me, Brucicles, and my loyal subordinate, Titipides. The red army is that of the Markid dynasty, led by Marcos and his trusted general Arachon. Marcos and Arachon are famously aggressive commanders, and plan to go over to the attack right away. Marcos's plan is to turn Brucicles' right flank. The cavalry of Arachon and Titipides advance to face each other. In Triumph, movement is done based on points allocated by rolling command dice for the generals. At the beginning of the battle, when your commands are grouped into large units, you will probably have more command points than you need. But as your units get involved in combat, the battle line will get disordered and broken into smaller groups, each of which will require command points to move. The Markid line advances, with the cavalry on the left flank racing ahead. It slams into the Brusimaic cavalry, and a desperate melee ensues. In Triumph, you have to roll double your opponent's die roll score to inflict a casualty, but even forcing an enemy base to retreat will break up your opponent's battle line and make it easier to inflict casualties next time. In the center, the Markid phalanx advances. It's early stages yet, but Marcos and Arachon are pleased with how the battle is beginning. The cavalry clash on Brucicles' right goes back and forth, while in the center, Marcos's phalanx advances ominously into battle. Tedipides isn't too worried about how the battle is going on his side, as he is doing well. Of course, everyone does well against Eric's die rolls. On the other hand, Brusicles is getting increasingly alarmed, as Marcos is beating on him like the proverbial red-headed stepchild. Tedipides advances with his cavalry against Ericon, while Brusicles advances to meet Marcos's phalanx. Battle is raging all along the line now. Brusicles is barely holding on, but Tedipides has thrown back Ericon's cavalry. Victory is in the balance, and the crisis of the battle has been reached. Tedipides and Ericon's infantry crash into each other in a desperate melee. Meanwhile, Tedipides' cavalry is sweeping around Ericon's flank. Is this it? Have the Brusimaics won the battle? And look, I even rolled a 6 in combat. But that 1-6 is not enough. Marcos has shattered my flank. I have had to throw my general into the melee, and if you have to throw your general into the battle line to shore up your flank, it's a pretty good sign that you have lost. It has been a hard-fought battle, but in the end, the Markets have the triumph. I asked the victors their thoughts on the game and the rules.
So this is our first Battle of Triumph here in Ottawa at the Perry Gray Emporium. And the rules went pretty well. There are some quirky aspects to the rules, but whenever you win, it always makes it more satisfying.
And you're satisfied with how your strategy worked?
Flawlessly. I was able to annihilate my opponent and turn the flank.
We had a strategy?
Well, sort of. Not really.
As a first play test, I thought it went fairly well. It was there are some quirky things and things that are different from other rule sets. Overall, not bad. I'd play it again. Give it some more chances to see how it works.
Yeah, I thought skirmishers were a bit weird, and that's something we'd have to look at to see if we played it properly and if that's how they work.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me in the basement. Until next time, may your dice always roll true.